Here's T-Bone and Heather on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are thrilled to have you along with us and thrilled to have this gentleman along with us as well. Representative and Delegate Mark Fisher is on the line with us this morning. Hi, Mark, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, well, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on with us again.
I got to tell you, Mark, you guys are having a heck of a time up there during the General Assembly this season.
Yes, we are.
How is it that you're not already out individually apologizing to everybody in the state of Maryland?
Yes. Yeah, Governor Moore, he just decided to point me out, and I thought that was really interesting, that he thinks that I'm getting under his skin, while at the same time he wants to tax every single Marylander out of the state. I mean, 53% of Marylanders say they want to leave.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark,
53%.
now,
it's not good.
For people who don't know what happened, explain the scenario, what you said, and then the governor's response of what you said.
Sure. So Maryland's budget is such that every single year that we return, even with all of these tax increases that have happened already and will continue to happen, we're going to come back and they're going to say, we have a budget deficit. We have to raise taxes.
Right.
So they constantly are raising taxes. They have no respect for the small business community. They have no respect for the middle class, none whatsoever. So they just keep coming back and hitting us with more taxes. So I said on the House floor, with the $1.6 billion of new taxes that they want to raise this year, they being the Democrats,
right,
raise this year in Maryland alone, just this year, I said, why would any business want to come to Maryland? Why would any business want to stay?
Right.
Why would any business? And you want to tax data and IT services and cloud computing 3%. Why would those companies come here?
Well, they wouldn't.
So my advice to you, Marylanders, is leave. Leave if you can. If you have a small business, leave while you can. Don't come to Maryland.
Oh, no.
That didn't set well with them.
The governor heard that, and he got very triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and then they asked the governor the question, what about the gentleman from Calvert County? He goes, well, I think he owes everybody an apology.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know what, Governor? If you think that's the truth, and I'll break some news right now, then this is what you should do, Governor. Veto the $1.6 billion tax package coming to your desk, sir. Do that.
And what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, he's going to pass it, right?
Last Thursday of last week, he had a press conference, and he said in the same press conference, I was there, and he said, well, we're going to make Maryland the most business-friendly state in the country. And then, on the other hand, and 30 seconds later said, so I'm announcing a 3% tax on data and IT and cloud computing.
So, I mean, this is somebody...
So what does that... I'm sorry. What does that mean? So businesses who do cloud computing, I mean, have any type of cloud service at their business or use any cloud service at their business? Because I know we do. We use a cloud service. How does that work, Mark?
Yes, so you're correct. So it's not just businesses, though. Remember, every time you call up a movie from Netflix or Amazon Prime or any other services, those movies are on the cloud. So you're going to be paying this because they're going to be paying this. They're going to pass this along to you.
So if I want to rent a movie that's $20,
Die Hard.
Yeah, you got to watch Die Hard for $20. It's going to be more than $20 now.
Yes, it's the machinations of this particular tax are going to be really interesting to see how they decide to implement it. But let's face it, they're going to implement it to catch as much tax as they can, or as the Democrats say in the House of Delegates, revenue.
Right.
Okay, Mark, I got another question for you because everybody is asking this question. We asked it yesterday on the air because we talked about these tax increases and the child care. You can't write that off anymore, the mortgage interest on your home. Where did the surplus go?
Where'd the money go, Mark?
We had a surplus when Governor Moore came in because I'm very curious if you folks have done an audit, if we know where the money went, because now we're at a deficit. There's like
$8 billion.
An $8 billion swing. Can you help us to know or to find out where that money went?
He's hired 5,000 plus additional state employees over the course of 2 years. So that's at least $700 million right there, and counting. Remember, because that's every year, not just 1 year. And then in addition to that, of course, you have the blueprint, which is the Kerwin Commission bill, which is busting the budget.
Education.
Yes, and of course, as you guys know, I have advocated from day one since I've been here to have school choice, which would not only save money and not only save lives of kids, but also have parents empowered to send their kids where they want to get them out of the schools.
How much is the blueprint costing? I mean, how much out of the $8 million does that go towards?
So the blueprint, so that is a sliding scale, and herein lies the problem, because the teachers union owns the Democrat Party, okay? So what happens is they come here and they start this process where the state Senate says they want to cut some of the funding, and then the House always restores the funding for the blueprint. And the blueprint is basically going to bust the budget to the tune of billions upon billions of dollars from this point forward. And the results in our schools have really not improved. And I want to say something. I appreciate all the teachers and so forth. The problem is the teachers union, and they're just really destroying public education. The teachers unions are, not the teachers. The teachers are the patriots.
And we can't keep them, and we can't keep them, and we can't recruit them.
Nobody can make the argument that we're getting a good return on investment when it comes to education in Maryland. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you have children who, look, in Calvert County, for example, this is happening all over southern Maryland, but in Calvert County we have kids that are literally hitting and assaulting teachers. The kid goes into a classroom by himself for a week inside the same school, and then returns to his regular classroom the next week. There are no consequences. By the way, that's the teachers union, because in the past we would basically expel those kids, or we'd have other programs, remove them, send them somewhere. My argument is they should be sent to military boarding school as an option. I mean that sincerely. And long story short, those same children go right back into the classroom. That's because the teachers union wants the money from that kid.
Yeah. Of course, right. Every head is every little face is a cash register.
Mark, is that the teachers? Is that the teachers union, or is that the Board of Education in Baltimore? I mean, is there a separation there, or they're the same?
The boards of ed are trying to fix things, but Maryland has a command and control public education system. Everything comes from Annapolis, and the locals have very little flexibility, and that's by design of the teachers union themselves. The teachers union run this state. Believe me, they run this state. And if you are a Democrat and you try to buck them, you will lose your primary in your Democrat primary, because the teachers union has that much power.
Okay, what happens if we don't get these tax increases? I mean, are Maryland roads going to crumble? Are the school roofs going to fall in? What happens if we don't get this money? Because we're at a deficit right now.
Yeah, so a normal governor at a normal time would cut spending across the board. They wouldn't just choose one area to cut spending. They would cut it across the board. And that's what this governor could do. He hasn't done that. And look, now we're in this situation where he blew through that $5 billion plus budget surplus. And so now we are in a really bad situation. So it's an unfair game to say, well, it's not, the governor shouldn't have to cut this much. The governor has blown the budget. And here's what I say. Look, Governor Moore, I actually run a small business and have my entire life.
Better move
it. He ran a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And he became wealthy running a nonprofot.
Isn't that funny that happens?
More money than all of us.
You better move, Mark. You better get your business out of Maryland.
I'm not saying there's not good nonprofits out there. There are, but I'm always surprised by how many people get very, very wealthy running a company that doesn't make a profit. So,
well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about this. You too could run the nonprofit that Governor Moore ran and make $800,000+ per year.
I would like to run that nonprofit, Mark.
My hand is raised.
Do you know who I need to call?
What would you? Okay, last question.
Yeah, you can call BlackRock.
Okay.
BlackRock set him up.
All right.
And by the way, this is the overall framing of this conversation with this particular governor. Governor Moore was essentially groomed by BlackRock and Bloomberg and Oprah Winfrey and George Soros to take on this job. He's not a Marylander. He did study at Hopkins, but he's not a Marylander. He came here because he's shopping for a place to run. He ran for office. He is wholly unprepared for this job. And meanwhile, he spends all of his time in Washington, D.C. on the national media running for president of the United States.
Who do people call if they don't want the tax increases? When does that vote happen, and who do they call?
you've got to call the Democrats in the legislature, including the governor.
Okay.
You have to do that. You have to call them. And by the way, guys, on the House floor, just so your listeners understand, during the debate for the $1.6 billion of taxes, Jessica Feldmark, a Montgomery County Democrat, said when I got up and asked her about capital gains tax surcharge, since they're going to do that too, right?
Right.
You have to pay. You already paid capital gains, but there's going to be a surcharge.
Sure. Why not?
She said, "quote Capital gains is not money you work to earn."
That's right. It's not money you earned. So,
Oh my gosh.
all right, listen, talking with Delegate Mark Fisher, I know you're busy. You have to apologize to everybody in the state of Maryland.
Right,
I
get to
want
it.
my apology to be very groveling. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the call, bud.
Thanks,
Thanks for having
Mark.
me. Appreciate
All right,
it.
see you, bud.
All
See you
right,
guys.
see ya.